On? Well, good afternoon. This is Blu Laker at Radio Tribune in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're 717 South 9th Street, that's the corner of 9th and Charleston. Real easy to find. If you want to have a little input into the show, by all means, get in touch with me at 702-743-8297. That's 743-8297. And my name is Blu Laker. All right, so, today we're going to be turning, there's a number of things. There's so much happening in the world. There's so much confusion and dissolution. We're just backwards from where we should be. But it would seem to me, since we have the new president, we should give him the opportunity of being able to go ahead and try to work with him. Try to work with him because the things that he has done have been positive. You can talk all day long about the meddling with Russia. Who cares? Who cares? What we know is this. Is it going to change anything? Let's just say, okay, you're right, folks. There's been a hell of a lot of meddling by Russia. There's also been a hell of a lot of meddling by Obama, who chose to endorse Hillary Clinton. Who chose to endorse Hillary Clinton because she was going to continue his programs. Now, that was not to our benefit. As you can see, we have over a $20 trillion deficit. $20 trillion. If we sat down and we had all the money in one room, you couldn't count it in a lifetime. That's how much it is. A lot of money. And who's going to pay for it? Well, that's the problem. You see, we're paying for it. We put these guys in office, they spend our money, and then all of a sudden we're busted. Is that what we put them in office for? I don't think so. I think we put them there to represent us. Matter of fact, I have an article here, and I agree with this. As the parties polarize their ideologies, splitting the people, inciting the discord, turning it against one another, we, the people, that is the voters, lost control of our servants and now find that they are pulling and ruling our nation and making the decisions based on their own agenda. It is time to take the careers out of Congress and return it to a representative body. Term limits, of course, is part of what we need to take care of that. We can't have the same old, who continue to build their own power block and lock us in for another 4 or 8 years. Why is it that Congress, 535 representatives, get to call their own deals? They put together their raises. They have special privileges that we don't get to enjoy. The best medical conditions. Only 2 terms and they qualify for retirement for the rest of their lives. That's a heck of a deal, isn't it? That doesn't include all the perks and all the special interest money that comes in. The first thing they get when they get to Washington is a $5,000 bonus for making it. And then, of course, they become obligated to the parties. Then after that, they're not worth a nickel because all they have to do is find out which direction the party is going in, and then they cast their votes accordingly. Not the kind of Congress that we thought that we had. And we got to recognize that people are not considering the consequences of the long-term ripple effect that potentially is going to affect our future. That occurs when any movement can slip in, then overwhelm us politically, emotionally, and financially. Fundamentally, that was taken care of several hundred years ago, where Our forefathers had plenty of time. They didn't have all the convenience we had. They didn't have the traffic, and they didn't have anything. But they had a lot of time, and they sat down and constructively put together the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. That's what they did. Now, in today's world, we don't need to go backwards anymore. We need to go forward. We need ideology or radicalizations that protects our communities. Divisive strategies are deceptive stalls. They're nothing more than referendums of directives and designed to alter the construction or the Bill of Rights. Now, we have a choice. We either bring this under control, or we're going to lose all of our rights under the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, whether it be the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. And I hate to bring up a subject like this, but do you remember when Obama ordered hundreds of millions of rounds of dum-dum shells? What are they going to do with them? Oh, they're going to use them for bullet practice, right? I don't think so. They didn't have that idea in mind at the time that they ordered them. But we are there. We're stuck with them. And who knows what the actual cost of those were or where they're being distributed. But wouldn't it be interesting to find out that some of our adversaries already know, that they know where these weapons and supplies are, and if they so desire, can obtain them and then use them against us. So we have the government to worry about, and we have our adversaries to worry about. And now, of course, we're throwing another element into the frying pan, and that is the element of the Democrats versus the Republicans. But you see, we did this once before. It was called the Civil War, and it cost over 1 million lives, because that war was fought over states' rights. And you wonder, well, how do states' rights have anything to do with today's politics? Well, it's real simple. States' rights and the people in those states who decide what's going to happen in their own states and communities have grouped together. Yes, they have gotten minorities together to where they have become the quote-unquote demagogues. And what are we going to do about it? You see, a lot of these people are totally dependent on the government. That is to say that they can't survive without the subsidies that we provide. Yes, we provide them because we are not entitled to the same subsidies that they are. We don't get food stamps. We don't have subsidized housing. We don't have free medical, free education, and the list goes on and on. Where else but in the United States has any of this ever taken place? Even in the poor countries, India, for example, Pakistan, and a whole bunch of other countries where they don't even have potable water to drink. What about those people at the same time? But we can't take them all in, you see. That's unfortunate because we're just not capable of providing for all of those people. But we have done a wonderful job so far in that we haven't used our own money, we've used paper mache. Yeah, it's about like paper mache. Yeah, it's fiat money, it's not worth the print that's on it. And sooner or later, we're going to get caught with our shorts down again. It's coming. It's taken a little while to reveal itself, but it is coming. It has to, because other countries don't want our worthless paper that's backed by nothing. So they're going to come to the realization that they have to do something that guarantees the safety and liquidity of their investments in America, whether it be the products and or the properties that they've acquired through the loans and so forth that they've put forth. Well, some of the smart people in the world have taken advantage of that, and are going to capitalize on it if and when this economy fails. And you can say, well, if and when has already happened. Yes, if and when is already happening, and it's just a question of time before the door gets closed in back of us. Now, it may remind you of the real estate bust that we just recently had, and that affected a lot of people, including me. You see, we didn't think that was going to happen either. We just didn't know. Everything was going wrong just fine, rosy, fine and dandy. We put people in houses that couldn't afford them. They didn't have to provide a financial statement or background information. Maybe they weren't even legal. Maybe they weren't even able to sign contracts, which we believe is very true. And just the same thing happens when it comes time to voting. A lot of these people are illegal, they have no business voting, and yet they do it. Why do people do that? Because they've been able to get away with it for many years. And it's simply repeat, and repeat. So when you talk about what's taking place here in America and realize how many problems we really have, maybe at some point in time you'll decide to get involved and do something about it. Because I think the time is coming. We can't stand the polarization of the two parties and the disgust that they bring with it. And what we've seen with this attack on the congressman is minor compared to what is going to happen. But let's talk about that for just a second. Now, I realize that he was the majority whip, I believe, and that he was kind of an important person. But we spent 3 or 4 days just talking about him. And what I wonder is, have we forgotten about the past? Have we forgotten all of those who have given up their lives? Not just one person, but thousands, millions of people. Do we pay them the same respect? And if we can do this with one individual, what happens when there's a multitude of people that go down? And maybe some of the bigwigs that feel that you're safe and secure. Isn't that what we all want? Safety and security for the future? Isn't that what we want to offer to our children who we've taken the time to raise and educate? And it's cost us a lot of money to do just that. Do we want to see our sons and daughters slaughtered? Oh, it'll never happen. Let me tell you something that has already happened. If you think ISIS is just another friendly group around the corner, I'd like to remind you of all the people that they have killed and beheaded. How some of them were cooked alive. Yes, even set on fire. Are these people that we should be sympathetic with? Are these people that we can negotiate with? The fact is, no, we cannot negotiate with someone like this. They have done everything against human rights that one could think of. Are they going to be held responsible by the World Tribune? No, because they're not soldiers. And even if they were, we don't know who the hell they are, or where they come from, or what they're doing. It's very difficult to fight an invisible enemy. And that's what they are. And you can say, well, we know that they're over there in the Middle East someplace. Yes, we know that they're in the Middle East someplace. We also know that when they get together and pray, they have a tremendous amount of unity and brotherly love for their fellow Muslims. Unfortunately, their quorum, the Quran, or whatever you call it, dictates that the infidels have to go. That's us. They don't care how we take them out. They of course, are on the other side. And we are involved in the war. That war is with Allah. Allah against God here in the United States for the control of the United States. And we can't let that happen. If we let it happen, where are we going to go? Well, as far as the Muslims are concerned, we're going to die. That's it, simply put. They want to kill us all. And do you think it matters to them whether it's a dirty bomb or a nuclear explosion or EMP or a pandemic, chemical warfare? Are you kidding? You think that they won't use it if they have it available and if they can do it in the right circumstances? Of course, they're going to do it. And so we got a lot to worry about. We really don't need to worry about what's going on internally here in the United States, even though it's, when we say I don't worry about it, it's minor compared to the things on the world front. Because on the world front, we are facing so many other rogue nations. North Korea, for example, is one. Iran is another. Those are the two major problems in the world today. But they're not by themselves. We have other conflicts that we need to deal with, including the ones that are here localized, because as bad as ISIS is, the gangs here in this country have killed more people than ISIS, American people. The gangs have killed more people than ISIS in this country. And not through short ISIS by any stretch of the imagination, because they're worldwide, and so they have a greater, quote-unquote, territory to patrol and, of course, kill. And even though that they numerically have killed more people than the Mexican cartel, the average, or there have been more Americans killed by the cartels than ISIS. So, as bad as ISIS is, as bad as M13 and the cartels are concerned, we have our hands full. Both of them are underground. Both of them operate freely. And yes, we catch their leaders occasionally, and then we put them in jail, and then they escape and somehow manage to escape. Nobody else does, but the chief banana does. Gets away with it all the time. And so, my thoughts are that we need to concentrate on the real problems that are facing this nation, and we have to move forward with jobs and opportunities, and we have to put all the bickering BS away. We can't afford to do that. We can't afford to waste our time. Are they going to try to drag this on for 4 years to demonize and degrade? It's not just Trump, but his family. He has a big family. He has sons and daughters and grandchildren, just like other normal people. He is a Christian. He believes in God, and he believes that America can be strong again if only we help. That's right. Nobody can do everything by themselves. It takes the cooperation of other people who have the same vested interest. So let me talk about the vested interest that you have. We have this country which we call our country. This is God's country. We are the caretakers of this property because we can't take it with us. And yet we don't seem to understand or realize that that's our responsibility. So you need to get serious about what you think about whether the game between the New York Yankees and any of the other teams is more important to you than the security and future of the United States. Because, yes, if we had the same involvement that we have in sports activities on the political scene, you would see some rapid change immediately. Because then we'll all be pulling in the same direction. But as long as we're pulling ourselves apart, as long as we're trying to divide and devise and put our man or woman in control, we will continue to have the same problem. So I say, look not towards the minors or the minor things that we have working against us, and let's focus on the major items that are going to have a devastating effect if they really go into existence. And we're not able to watch every single person in every single moment. We do not know the evil that exists in the mind of man. We just don't know. And even though we vet and try our best, we did a better job 50 to 100 years ago when we brought people into the United States and put them through Ellis Island, and where we had a chance to see if they brought any diseases. They basically were on probation to find out what there was about them that made them either good citizens or potentially good citizens as opposed to bad. But since we have open borders now, we can't do that either. So we got to get back to basics, and those basics simply say that anybody that's coming into this country really needs to be invited, and it really needs to be investigated before they come in. And if it's a big job, and if it's too big a job to consider, then what I'll say is this, that history repeats itself, and that a country that has no borders has no country. So as long as our borders are open, we can expect the worst from the worst of them, because they're there. And what we see almost on a daily basis allows us to look into the future, because if you think these are isolated incidents, it's because they haven't found the way or the will to get them done yet. But they're working on it. Rest assured that they spend their days and nights praying and praying to move their faith along. So it's time for us to come together as not only a country, but as to our ability to control the nation in a positive fashion and get rid of all the diversity that is causing us to fall apart, if you were. We cannot proceed, we cannot go forward as long as we keep attacking each other. And remember the Civil War, over 1 million people lost their lives in the Civil War. And why? Because we had differences. We had brother against brother and family against family. We should have learned by then that that doesn't work. But we're faced with that same situation today. And whether it happens to be from ISIS or all the illegals who have entered this country, we don't know who will prevail. Well, basically, what I've just said is that it looks like one of the two may prevail. And where does that put you? Does that put you in a positive position? Does it show that you have thought about the future or what you can possibly do in the event that this takes place. Look, we all knew about the real estate bust, but most of us failed to act upon it, and I was certainly one of those because everything was looking good and there didn't seem to be any cracks. But when we had the crack, it just busted everybody, and I lost property just as well as many other people who didn't take the time to properly prepare. But this time, it's much worse because if we don't prepare, we're going to lose the whole thing. You can say you lost a piece of property or you lost a lot of money, but when you think about losing your citizenship and your life, it becomes a different story. So we have to start to wake up. We have to start to come together in order to have a country and to have a secure future. This is Blu Laker, and today we're going to be continuing our conversation with John, and we're talking about some things that are real important. So I hope you stay tuned, but we operate out of Radio Tribune here in Las Vegas at 717 South 9th Street, the corner of Charleston and 9th, and we invite your public comments, whether they're positive or not, because we'll debate the ones that we don't feel are worthy of very much discussion. So have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. All right. Well, John,
how you doing today?
All right.
Cool. Back in the saddle.
Yep. Were you doing a radio show before?
Yeah. I did, well, actually, I've done radio, I've done TV, I've done it for a long time. I've done different top interview shows, in the past. One time I did the Republican Roundtable, Conservative Roundtable. I did the Property Hut, What's New in the Valley. It was a real estate show. I've done Valley Talent Showcase, getting new artists again, promoting them via TV and stuff. So I've done a little bit here and there.
Yeah. Well, I've done other radio shows. Yeah. So I did a Good Wizard Energy show, and what was it, KLAV, and I did the Voice of the Independent. That's another show. And I had a couple others, but anyway.
Hello. Are we on?